We're doing chapter 5, Riddles in the Dark, and I think a lot of us were looking forward to this chapter. It's one of the chapters I've been looking forward to the most for these readings. And my favorite part is also the part that scares me the most, because Riddles in the Dark is actually a really terrifying chapter. You know, it's like years and years later, but I still think Gollum's like a scary little shit, and I can't, because in my mind I picture the animated version of Gollum, and he's terrifying. Okay. "What's the matter?" Bilbo called. "What have you lost?" "It mustn't ask us," shrieked Gollum. "Not its business. No, Gollum, it's lost. Gollum, Gollum, Gollum," and I'm not even gonna attempt to do a Gollum voice, so. "Well, so am I," cried Bilbo, "and I want to get unlost. And I won the game and you promised, so come along, come and let me out, and then go on with your looking." Utterly miserable as Gollum sounded, Bilbo could not find much pity in his heart, and he had a feeling that anything Gollum wanted so much could hardly be something good. "Come along," he shouted. "No, not yet, precious," Gollum answered. "We must search for it. It's lost, Gollum." "But you never guessed my last question, and you promised," said Bilbo. "Never guessed," said Gollum. Then suddenly out of the gloom came a sharp hiss. "What has it got in his pocket, sis? Tell us that. It must tell first." As far as Bilbo knew, there was no particular reason why he should not tell. Gollum's mind had jumped to a guess quicker than his. Naturally, for Gollum had brooded for ages on this one thing, and he was always afraid of its being stolen. But Bilbo was annoyed at the delay. After all, he had won the game pretty fairly at a horrible risk. "Answers were to be guessed, not given," he said. "But it wasn't a fair question," said Gollum. "Not a riddle, precious, no." "Oh, well, if it's a matter of ordinary questions," Bilbo replied, "then I asked one first. What have you lost? Tell me that." His heart is, "What has it got in his pocket, sis?" The sound came hissing louder and sharper, and as he looked towards it, to his alarm, Bilbo now saw two small points of light peering at him. Okay, that's terrifying! As suspicion grew in Gollum's mind, the light of his eyes burned with a pale flame. "What have you lost?" Bilbo persisted. But now the light in Gollum's eyes had become a green fire, and it was coming swiftly nearer. Gollum was in his boat again, paddling wildly back to the dark shore, and such a rage of loss and suspicion was in his heart that no sword had any more terror for him. Bilbo could not guess what had maddened the wretched creature, but he saw that all was up, and that Gollum meant to murder him at any rate. Just in time, he turned and ran blindly back up the dark passage down which he had come, keeping close to the wall and feeling it with his left hand. "What has it got in its pocket, sis?" he heard the hiss loud behind him, and the splash as Gollum leapt from his boat. "What have I wonder," he said to himself as he panted and stumbled along. He put his left hand in his pocket. The ring felt very cold as it quietly slipped onto his groping forefinger. The hiss was close behind him, and he turned now and saw Gollum's eyes like small green lamps coming up the slope. Terrified, he tried to run faster, but suddenly he struck his toes on a snag in the floor and fell flat with his little sword under him. In a moment Gollum was on him, but before Bilbo could do anything, recover his breath, pick himself up, or wave his sword, Gollum passed by, taking no notice of him, cursing and whispering as he ran. What could it mean? Gollum could see in the dark. Bilbo could see the light of his eyes palely shining even from behind. Painfully he got up and sheathed his sword, which was now glowing faintly again. Then very cautiously he followed. There seemed nothing else to do. It was no good crawling back down to Gollum's water. Perhaps if he followed him, Gollum might lead him to some way of escape without meaning to. "Curse it, curse it, curse it," hissed Gollum. "Curse the Baggins, it's gone. What has it got in his pocket, sis? Oh, we guess, my precious. He's found it. Yes, he must have my birthday present." Bilbo pricked up his ears. He was at last beginning to guess himself. He hurried a little, getting as close as he dared behind Gollum, who was still going quickly, not looking back, but turning his head from side to side, as Bilbo could see from the faint glimmer on the walls. "My birthday present, curse it, how did we lose it, my precious? Yes, that's it. When we came this way last, when we twisted that nasty young squeaker. That's it, curse it, it slipped from us after all these ages and ages. It's gone, Gollum." Suddenly Gollum sat down and began to weep, a whistling and gurgling sound horrible to listen to. Bilbo halted and flattened himself against the tunnel wall. After a while Gollum stopped weeping and began to talk. He seemed to be having an argument with himself. "It's no good going back there to search, no. We doesn't remember all the places we've visited. And it's no use. The Baggins has got it in his pockets. The nasty noser has found it, we says. We guesses, precious, only guesses. We can't know till we find the nasty creature and squeezes it. But it doesn't know what the present can do, does it? It'll just keep it in its pockets. It doesn't know, and it can't go far. It's lost itself, the nasty nosy thing. It doesn't know the way out. It said so. It said so, yes, but it's tricksy. It doesn't say what it means. It won't say that it's got what it's got in its pockets is. It knows a way in. It must know a way out, yes. It's off to the back door, that's it. The goblins will catch it then. It can't get out that way, precious. Gollum, goblins is, but yes, but if it's got the present, our precious present, then goblins will get it, Gollum. They'll find it. They'll find out what it does. We shall never be safe again, never, Gollum. One of the goblins will put it on, and then no one will see him. He'll be there, but not seen. Not even our clever eyes will notice him. And he'll come creepsy and tricksy and catch us, Gollum. I'm not gonna read this entire thing, but yeah. I'm looking forward to the scene, so, I hope it's really good in the movies. And yes, I know about the trilogy, and I don't want to get into I will talk forever about how I feel about there being a trilogy, but I hope Gollum is terrifying in the movie. I am looking forward to this scene. Oh, and I'm wearing my ring for the first time in a video.